Redditors who do not have a romantic how we first met story with your significant other, how did you meet? Working at a residential treatment center for emotionally disturbed adolescents. There was a riot on campus. It took 2 shifts of staff to get the kids quieted down and back in bed. We were supposed to get off work at 11 p.m. but were there until 1 a.m. Guy I was working with was friends with my roommate. So after we got off, I said I'm going home to get drunk. Want to come? That was 42 years ago. We've been married for 37 years and have 2 adult children. My folks met when they ran for cover in the same spot during a drive-by shooting. Salvadoran here, a whole bunch of people from my parents' generation have similar stories. When your country is undergoing a civil war, it turns out that a lot of people meet covering from bullets. Not me but an old friend. Back in the 70s, my friend Shirley was at a bar late one night making a phone call in the back room on a payphone, and some drunk asshole came stumbling in and took the phone from her, hung it up, then proceeded to make a call to someone else. She stood back and smacked him in the face. He fell flat on the floor and busted out laughing. That's how they met, a short bar fight I suppose lol. I always loved hearing that story when I drank with them. She passed away a few years back and was a very sweet woman. I met my wife in 1989, in psychiatric hospital. Married for 29 years now. Now we need to know, why were you guys in a psychiatric hospital? They were crazy for each other. Met at a homeless shelter. We hit it off, got back on our feet, got a place together, getting married. Edit, it never seemed a romantic situation to me. We met in a homeless shelter isn't exactly something we tell people openly. You found love in a homeless place. I don't remember meeting my husband. I was a freshman in high school and it was during band camp. I got a text from him one night and pretended to know who he was because I was too embarrassed that I didn't know everyone's names yet. Have you figured out his name yet? If not, take him to Starbucks. Also, if you're about to marry him, pay attention to the priest, usually they call them out by their name when asking for the vows. I was the DD for the night at the local club. It was getting late and everyone wanted to party more. I was getting hungry. Outside the club this guy always had his hot dog cart set up, so I went outside to get a couple. The club didn't allow outside food or drink, so I just sat on the curb. She came out drunk as a skunk with her friends, took a few steps then puked on me. My hot dogs got ruined too. Her friends really weren't in any condition to drive either, so I called an Uber and asked him to let me know they got home safe. She called the next day incredibly apologetic and asked to make it up to me. She showed up to the restaurant with a new shirt and a pack of Franks, laughed hysterically, got talking, and here we are. I always say she had a very unique method of picking me. Met my girlfriend at a New Year's Eve party. We were both super drunk. I may have blurted out my life story too. I came back with her to her apartment. After sobering up, I decided to get naked and crawl into her bathtub. I passed out, but woke up with a blanket on me and a pillow under my head. She sent me a message asking if I was okay. I asked her out for coffee. The rest is history, I guess. He was drunk. An acquaintance and I went to pick him and another friend up to go out to a club. We've been together almost 15.5 years, married 13. Even his proposal was not very romantic. We were in our backyard getting ready to barbecue and he asked me if I would marry him. First thing out of my mouth was, "Are you sure?" It totally works for us though. Added my wife on Facebook 11 years ago because I thought she was hot. She popped up in a friend's pictures and I was like, dang, nice, and now I wake up in the same bed as her and I say dang, nice every single day. Dang, nice. She tripped on the gutter. While everyone around her helped her, I just stood there trying to contain my laughter. She still tells this story to other people up to this day. She tripped and you fell. That's romantic. My wife and I met on OkCupid. I used to feel kind of embarrassed about this until I realized that now there are married couples out there who met on Tinder. Who knows, in a few more years Tinder will probably seem old-fashioned, and all the young people will be meeting up on findasetofgenitals.com. I met my wife on Craigslist. I'm not embarrassed by finding love to line, but I am still embarrassed that it was Craigslist. Same for us, at this point we're too deep in the we met through mutual friends lie to our family. I'm just thankful they never ask who our mutuals friends are. She first met me while dating my best friend and I was with another girl at the time. Years later, my best friend convinced me to hang out with her, called her up and invited her to Buffalo Wild Wings where he and I were hanging out. Since we had both already eaten, we walked across the parking lot to a bar. I played darts with friends while drinking and talking to her a bit, then after the bar closed, we went back to our cars, started making out, decided there wasn't enough room inside, and fucked with her bent over the hood of my car in Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot at 4 a.m. It was a magical night we'll tell our grandchildren about one day. I assume this is a tourism ad for New Jersey. Met my husband on Plenty of Fish. I had an account my friend and I used to troll people when we were bored, used my own picture, and he seemed decent so I told him what was up with my account. He thought it was funny and asked me on a date. Day we scheduled to meet up, my appendix exploded and was in the ICU for 2 weeks. Okay, rescheduled once I got home. His GPS directed him to my house by driving through a river. We lived in Florida at the time, so mud, crackheads and alligators were a concern. Police had to come save him and escorted him to my house. We still laugh about it. He's from Canada and was new to Florida, so the day we met was a very wild ride for him. He didn't drive into the river, he stopped and got his car stuck in the mud when he realized that the road was ending. I should have been more specific. Not me, but one of my friends told me about how their parents knew a couple who found each other around the bin truck. So basically one day a guy went to take back his metal can from the street, but there was a big problem. The garbage worker had accidentally made a tear in the bin bag and ripped it open, spreading shits everywhere on the pavement. So next week the upset man waited for the same workers to show up to get some explanations. Turns out that garbage worker was in fact a woman of the same age, which was really rare in those times, 70s 80s. Charmed by her uniqueness, the dude decided to share numbers. They dated and we all know the rest. Not the nicest way to meet someone if you ask me, haha, but quite a nice story. Me and my husband met in a threesome I had with an ex. I did open relationships at the time. The sexual chemistry between us was very obvious from the jump, and over the years we became best friends that had an on-again off-again sexual friendship whenever we were both single. 8 years later, we both found ourselves single again and finally admitted that we were ridiculously in love with each other. Been together and happily monogamous ever since. Match.com. She sent me an email and I waited a day to decide if the $20 commitment was worth it. It was, and we've been married a little over a decade. Did you get your $20 back? Nah, but I tell my wife she rates top 8 things I've spent $20 on. Smile. My husband had a promotion code for Match, so he likes to say he bought me on discount. Romance and prose are alive and well.